Okay, our next match in the second qualifier for HGC 2024, the Hanzo Genji Cup, North American tournament. Smaller one than what we're usually running here. But we have our second qualifier, and again, just to keep you guys updated, thanks to Kevin, thanks to Psychiv, we have $1,000 as a prize pool for the tournament. He has a little bit of a smaller one that we're running, but we run all on the North American server, meaning more NA-friendly start times, and the games themselves are being played out on the NA server, whereas European teams and Korean teams can technically still participate in the tournament. They have to play here on the server, which means that they are playing with a ping disadvantage. And in this game, this is going to play a role. In a lot of the previous ones, it hasn't, because it was two NA teams going up against each other. But right now, the Enjoyers, obviously hailing from Europe. We got Juan, fantastic name, by the way, on the NA side. So, Towers of Doom is our first map. It's a best of 3 series. There are no draft rules. There's no bounties. There's no things where you can only pick a hero once a series. We just said, okay, we had a lot of these rules lately. A lot of tournaments that had their special way to make things interesting. Some people were getting tired of it, some people love it and hope that we're never going to get rid of it, but we decided that this one we would just run a straight out draft where everything is just the way it normally is. And again, let us know in the comments if you are one of the proponents saying like, hey, I want to have that rule that you can only pick a hero once in every single tournament, then let us know. We are at the end of the day relying on feedback. Obviously we have our own ideas as well that we incorporate in these tournaments, but if this is the format you prefer where there's 0 draft regulations, then tell us that as well, and we will take feedback on board. Might not necessarily do what exactly you want, but again, we're reading stuff. So we get Blaze and Diablo as our opening over here for the blue team, whereas the Enjoyers are starting things off with the Fruit Fly. Brightwing has been chosen, and on Towers of Doom, I mean, you already get your global here. Could also go into Dehaka at this point. Towers of Doom, always very Dehaka, heavy map, Blaze as well when we're talking about general top lane plays. We get Garrosh and we get Leo, so we're gonna ghost around a little bit. Leo going for that Wraith Walk, and Garrosh is gonna try and flip targets into the back. I would have loved something like, well, maybe Malfurion with that. We'll see what the damage output is gonna be like from them, if they're also gonna get someone else that can supply a stun after Garrosh preps a target for them. But with the next ban coming up, they gotta set the tone a little bit. And I want to see how the Europeans do. Again, ping disadvantage for them, but still, at the same time, can they make it into the finals? This is qualifier number 2. Out of every qualifier, 2 teams qualify for the finals. That also, by the way, means that we are very likely not going to see the grand final in this qualifier. It's not needed. If you win the semi-final, you qualified for the final round of the tournament. That's just what it is. So not necessary to go also straight into the grand final, and we will see in total 6 teams play in the finals then. Tracer and Sylvanas are the 2 that are getting banned out here. Blue team with a double pick, they're lacking their damage dealers, they're lacking their support, and there we got the healer. Malfurion and Greymane. Alright. I kind of like that we see on the NA server also a few more picks very early on that on the European server you would see, if at all, then later in the series. We've already had that in the previous one, but now that we have the final 2 picks for the Polish team from Chromie and Falstad. Okay, Alvaros with Chromie. And then we get the birdie, so definitely a few more globals as Genji comes in as the final pick for One Direction. Towers of Doom, ladies and gentlemen, map number 1. Let's go straight into our series between the Enjoyers and One Direction. Game number 1 on the left, One Direction with Juan Pablo on Greymane. Coffee on Blaze, we get Nathanatos on Genji, Shredded Wind on Malfurion, and Vince is playing Diablo. On the right side, the European team with Lavakal on Brightwing, Arian on Garrosh, Richu is playing Leoric for the Poles. We got Itrax on Falstad, and Alvaros on Chromie. So, who's going to take it? Who's going to take the lead in the series? Who's going to be the one to open things up with a first victory in this best of 3 series? Attempting, of course, to make it straight into the semi-final. There will be a last chance qualifiers for the teams that don't make it into the final round directly, so we're still going to determine another 2 teams in the last chance qualifier that have a shot at locking in the prize money. So, time will tell. For now, it's just a little bit of early game skirmishes between the teams here in the middle. Nothing too insane, honestly. Just everybody looking if they can catch someone out of position and get that early game kill, build up a bit of momentum. Garrus obviously looking for a few targets to flip into the team. Has so far not really found anything. But they are applying some pressure here with the rotation. Chromie with deep breathing on level 1, so she starts to stack things up and is already sitting at 8. Has done a pretty good job getting early game stacks for herself here. Leo by now is up at the top, going up against Blaze, as you would expect. And then we're also looking at Itrax, at Arion, just doing their thing over here in the middle. Just a bit of rotation between the bot lane and the mid lane. Everybody looking for a couple of opportunities here to get those kills, and more importantly, once that they spawn, which is the case now, trying to also go for some of the pumpkins. Control your mercenary camps, get the experience, try and also escort a few of them through, and just do some work here. Doesn't seem like we're going to get an aggressive invade early on, as we sometimes get from the teams. Instead, it's just really vanilla play. But maybe now a chance. Leo gets a bit caught here by Diablo, but they're immediately attempting to turn things around. Not able to get a kill though. Or are they? Garrosh for a second in some trouble at least, and he goes down. That is first blood. One Direction gets the first kill in game number 1 between these two. So yep, well done. And they're also looking for a follow-up against Richu, but Leoric is able to ghost out. So he is able to make his way out of the fight. Good for him. And then of course on top of that, now there's a little bit of pressure with Blaze pushing out the minions up at the top lane. Leo is back, had to at least Hearth, he didn't die, but he still had to retreat. And is now slowly making his way back towards the top lane to deal with Blaze and all the minions that are getting pushed through there. Needs to also, of course, catch up on the experience. We have a small lead in XP already for the blue team. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, it's not that small. But I think Leoric is going to be able to catch up on experience a bit more at the top side. But yeah, there's definitely a little bit more that they can do here. Either way, there is an advantage for the blue team, undeniably. It's always maybe a question of, okay, how much? But they are slightly ahead right now. They have the kill advantage, they have an experience advantage, and now we'll see if that translates also in a few more shots fired through the altars that they could start the channel now. All the way up at the top, Leoric is slowly starting to push this back out. Vince is currently sitting at the side here, hoping that someone is going to fall for the trap. Also anchoring the play around the altar, which is now being channeled. And Leo and Falstad are trying to take the double up top. With Genji rotating in, he's clearly attempting to deny that to them. If he can pull that off or not, that's a very different question. And so far has been able to secure it for the team. Falstad now channeling one altar, and that means that the blue team walks away with the initial lead, channeling 2, getting 8 shots fired in total and dropping the core down to 32 points. So far so good. First 3-4 minutes in the game, pretty solid, pretty standard, nothing crazy, just what you would expect here as the teams are starting to make their moves and trying to go for another kill. And this time it's Vince. Gets caught and taken down. Diablo eliminated. So he's dropped. That's a kill for a kill now. And it actually caught the red team up in experience. So we have a pretty close game. Neck on neck for now. Oh, pretty nice actually. So yeah, they're going for it. Really, really... Oh, invade now as well. With Diablo down for the duration, they made a move over to the left side and start to take away the opponent's camp. So a pretty sweet move and a nice opportunity that they got there. And this is all just because of the one kill. So that led to a mercenary camp that got stolen. They can now also prioritize their own, and I doubt that the blue team is going to be willing to engage into this. Specifically, obviously, with Chromie being around and being ready to simply drop another trap on them and all that poke damage from a distance. Falstad still will, as the game continues, have to be a bit careful about Genji. Is currently sitting at the top and actually doing pretty well against Genji, specifically since Brightwing is now also trying to help out here. It wasn't enough to get them a kill. That would, of course, have been the perfect play if Brightwing comes in, gets a poly dropped, and then Genji actually dies. But yeah, that was a bit too much to ask. They are starting to take a bit of an advantage though. They're the ones currently making the plays and getting a bit more aggressive over here. So things are looking fairly okay for the enjoyers. Tiny advantage now with experience too, but it's all about the altars that are spawning, and this is where things are gonna potentially get interesting. Very likely we're just gonna get a channel for each team and no big plays being made here. Coffee is already taking care of the top left. Brightwing took the one on the top right. easy exchange in bell tower shots, and teams are once again just moving through the map. Again, showing a lot of respect for each other. Nobody wants to lose the first game. This is only a best of 3 series, so they're mega cautious here. Nobody wants to be overly aggressive. They're just trying to go for small advantage that will add up over time while not making any crazy mistakes that could cost them the game at this point. So yeah, they got to be a bit cautious here. But Blaze gets caught, gets killed. That's him gone. And that is, of course, a bit of a setback now. So it seems that slowly but steadily the Enjoyers are starting to gain a bit of momentum here. And they're doing very, very well with this. So yeah, building more momentum up as we speak. That's 2 kills to 1 now. Level 10 is in. Could make a few moves with that now, of course, too. But the push at the top of the map is also starting to become a bit of a problem for them. Because what they're currently trying to do here is essentially just take the bell tower. And yep, Genji dies as well. That's the 3rd kill for the team. It is getting a little bit tricky, I'm not gonna lie here. The blue team, Juan Direction, are starting to lose ground. The top lane gets pressured. They themselves hope to get Greymane into a position at the bottom of the map where he can start to make a few moves. But it's going to become a little bit troublesome for them if they are not careful here. It's not so much experience. In experience, they're still very close, and they're even ahead when it comes to core points. It's more so the momentum in the game that is now shifting in favor of the red team as they pick up some additional kills and are starting to make big moves overall. Pressure at the top, pressure at the bottom. Few additional kills, trying to take the experience lead. So far, One Direction is still absolutely in a position where they can bring this back, but still, as I said, they gotta also be a little bit careful that they don't get snowballed here, because they had an advantage and they kind of lost it. So right now, there it is, the kill they needed. They take Leo down, Leoric destroyed. That was a good one. That was definitely needed to just pick up some extra XP here and not lose control. They also got the altar. Nice play by the blue team, and that actually drops the Polish team down to 24 points on the course. So they're starting to drop farther and farther behind on this. The invade is also happening. Leo's of course back. Bunker is down. Malfurion's gone. That's the support missing. No more heals for them. Bunker could be taken in a second as well. Ults are more or less all out. Channel on the camp in favor of the Polish team, and Coffee on Blaze gets dropped as Garrosh saved Chromie with a pretty nice throw there. So Chromie is still alive. In the middle they were chasing Diablo, but they couldn't get Vince. Damage output, we got 26,000 for Chromie, and she is easily top damage in the game now. Leo on 18,000 with the drains that he got against Blaze. But look at Greymane over on the other side. He's currently sitting on 16k and is the top damage dealer for his team. Has also not fallen, by the way. So Greymane has not died once. He's been doing a really, really good job on this. Has survived through all of it. And now Genji has to retreat at the top once again. Over here in the middle of the map, as both of the teams are picking up the level 13 talents. Now had a bit of defense going on. 97 soul stacks for Diablo, so he is working to make sure that he has his extra little life there. With the double channel at the bottom, the Bunker up very early. They want to commit to this, and everybody is rotating up. I really think that... Oh, ho, 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 nice! Yeah, they're sacrificing Leoric for the camp. Hashtag worth it. Leo goes down, but that's absolutely okay. They even buy themselves a bit of time. I don't think it might actually be enough to get a channel at the bottom of the map. It is enough. They don't have a global. Yeah, Alvarez is getting a free channel on this one. Okay, and Falstad flew in and picks up another. So they keep them at the top. They steal the camp with a gust. And then they have enough time with Falstad flying cross map to grab themselves the bot lane and the mid lane altar, and that is 8 shots fired in total, dropping the two teams on an even score now on this. That was actually exceptionally well played. And I'm not quite sure that One Direction realized that. On a macro end, the Enjoyers with a solid play that afforded them a great position now. Bit of a leading experience again, but same rule as earlier, still fairly close. But that was sexy. That was really good. And yep, now all the way up at the top. That's when we're getting Diablo dying at the bottom, but up at the top they're trying to push for the thingy again. So yeah, trying to go for that bell tower. And down at the bottom What are we getting there? Nothing really. Playing it just like slow, safe, campers up, so they're going for that. Game has come down a little bit. It's more so about level 16 talents, it seems. Feels like the teams are trying to make sure that they're going to get that level 16 talent advantage, and with the Enjoyers having a small advantage in experience, they're most likely going to try and force a fight, maybe with a good Entomb or with Garrosh moving in. So anything that they can do here in order to force the issue, as they have the lead, would be great. It's not a big gap, but it's a window that you might be able to abuse. But Blaze is getting away at the top, or is he? That could be... There's nobody here, even if he drops the Entomb, which he did. They're not... wait, what? They might just get that kill. And yes, they did, but it's the blue team that gets it. Against the birdie! Falstad outplayed himself! Yeah, he still had the bunker cooldown, and he used it immediately. And with Genji assisting, he just dies. Falstad is gone. Nicely done. Shots are fired. Blue team gets the first channel. They drop them down to 20. And now at the top right, we're also getting at least Brightwing with 1. But of course, there is a third altar that the two teams are currently fighting for. But a couple of amusing plays that are being made by now. First, it was the NA macro plays. And then Europe with a little gank attempt at the top that heavily backfired against them. I'm not quite sure that they expected that to happen. So, yeah. Top side, though. Genji is still... I like how close the game is. I really do. I think for a first map, this is a pretty cool one. Everybody is, on the one hand, cautious because they don't want to fall behind. This is the second and therefore more or less last qualifier. We still got that last chance qualifier, but you're losing in the first round here, then you're going to have a tough time no matter what. So yeah, they're all trying to do their best in order to put themselves into a decent position and not overextend themselves, not playing too greedy, but it is still a bit of a struggle, as you can see. Blaze again with the bunker, had it ready. Leo this time might have a problem. Gus gets used as the flank is moving in. Diablo attempting to close the distance, gets the lightning breath, and they go for Atrax again. And as predicted during the draft, Genji against Falstad. This is just the play. So Leo falls first, and Falstad dies. Greyman with the double kill. Chromie and Garrosh could at least do some damage down at the bottom of the map. The blue team isn't even thinking about defending. Instead, they're moving in immediately for the top bell tower, trying to convert it over, and they're likely going to get it. Might be an exchange, which in this case would actually work out in favor of the red team if they can get the exchange. I mean, they haven't really pulled it off yet, but if they could, which I guess they are not able to, then it is the bot lane that just matters more. It always does on House of Doom. General rule of thumb, the lane that has the most mercenary camps traveling through it is the more important one on a map. And since you have 2 pumpkin camps at the bottom that can directly attack the core, that is the one lane that you're trying to control. Which is exactly why Chromie is moving forward to get it, but she might pay with her life for it, and she's gonna die indeed. Greymans are just waiting for her. That timeout did nothing but delay things, so they're gonna have a problem here at the bottom. Garrosh dies, the Gust is too late, and that leaves them with 3 defenders. There is no way they can grab that altar. I mean, the idea was really there. The thought process was, hey, we got an altar at the bot lane. If we grab that bell tower quickly and don't die in the process, then it's very tough for our opponent to engage in a fight there because they don't have a retreat option. They can't fall back. There's nothing that they can essentially do. So that is what they're trying to do here. The problem is that they lost Chromie in the process, and once that happens, you're just losing ground. So one bell tower gets already converted over. They're trying to get the one on the left side. Pumpkins are getting escorted in. They're already down to 16 points, and now the channel is going to happen, which is going to give them, I guess, another 5. Yeah, Malfurion gets 5 shots because they reclaimed the top bell tower in time. So that's 11 shots fired. Here come the Pumpkins. They're down to 9, and here comes the last 8. Single digits. 8 points against 20. And to make matters worse, when we're talking about 20, we're also talking about the talent and level of the blue team. Juan Direction is looking great. Tooth and Claw is what they have on 20 for Greymane. Looking at the damage numbers, he still hasn't died, by the way. He's at 26,000 hero damage. We have 41,000 for Genji. Chromie is at 32k, behind Falstad, by the way. And 38,000 for Leoric, which at this point is just Mr. Drano. Drains them 1 drain at a time. But One Direction is about to lock in a victory in game number 1. They are definitely the ones in the driver's seat now. With level 20 talents coming into play for their opponents, that means we get Burning Despair now for Leoric. I mean, he seems a little bit desperate here. Not going for the engage either. I think Buried Alive here would also have been a great choice, particularly if they can combo it off with a good gust. But it seems like they are just relying on his damage output. I mean, he's the top damage on the team. 8 kills to 6, and the siege is now on his Chrome. He is firing away from a distance. There's the Entomb, the gust, and the kill. He had his souls, so he will be back. But for now, it's a 4 versus 5, and Malfurion has also used his ult. So they got Diablo, relieved him of his souls, and now the chance to maybe get that bell tower back. Bad news is that there's 2 altars spawning in 10 seconds, so they gotta react to it, and Leo moved in and died. Insta death. That's a problem. There's the barbecue. I think they just threw it. Yep, that's game. If he dies, it's game. If they're losing more heroes, it's game. If they can, on the other hand, kill a few, that's a different story. And he cannot get it. Brightwing is down, so is Garrosh. He was mega close to at least take Greymane apart, but couldn't. Juan Pablo on the way down to the bottom of the map. Genji has fallen, but the channel has happened. The shots are fired, 3 points, and down here, the channel is through. That is game. That's a victory. That's a 1-0 lead for One Direction against the Enjoyers. GG, and well played.
Before we head into game number 2, make sure that you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it yet so you don't miss out on any future content here on Khaldor TV.
Game number 2, Battlefield of Eternity. We got One Direction in the lead as we're heading into our second map, and of course it is match point now. The Storm League Enjoyers, if they lose another one, that they are out of qualifier number 2. And yeah, was actually a pretty nice game from them there. Leo face checking towards the end was honestly the beginning of the end. He was quickly killed, and then they were playing with a numbers disadvantage, and yeah, that was a big problem for them. So they lost, I believe, Garrosh next and couldn't really recover. I believe they counter-killed Genji but missed out on a Greymane kill that was definitely in the cards. And then they just like lost too much ground and really couldn't do anything anymore. But by now we got Lucio quickly locked in as a first ban from the red team. So let's see what they can do now. What can the Enjoyers do to bring this back? Force game number 3 and win 2 in a row, which they have to do if they want to advance to the next round, which is the semi-final. And again, once more the reminder, the semi-finals are the last round, because out of each qualifier, the top 2 teams advance, which means you win the semi-final, you're qualified. So we don't have to go through the grand final, is essentially what I'm trying to say here. Blaze gets locked in. Richu for Battlefield of Eternity here. Yeah, they had some troubles with Blaze. Probably my favorite Blaze moment of the last game was really when Falstad and Leo thought they could gank up on Blaze, and they kind of did, but Blaze just simply dropped the bunker, and then Genji moved in and Falstad died. Playing Falstad obviously has the advantage that you're rocking a global, but then again, the issue that they really had is that Genji just ate him for breakfast. Juan Pablo with Lunara is actually a very interesting priority for Bambi. Like, they go for a mega early Lunara pick here. I mean, literally first rotation. I barely see the hero in the European meta. Every now and then in a blue moon you see Lunara taken very late in the draft, and that's usually with a rule that you can only pick a hero once within a series. As we're moving into game number 2, 3, 4, Lunara might make an appearance, but in this context, interesting. Diablo and Chromie, and that's actually a really beefy one. So first of all, Chromie is something that they really love to play here. I want to stress again that the European team obviously plays with a ping disadvantage, not to make excuses for them, but just to also explain why maybe when you're looking at this, you're thinking, hey, why are they not playing this hero? Why are they not playing that hero? And one reason could really be that they're just saying, okay, some of the assassins that we might normally play have the problem that they are in a high ping environment, a lot more difficult to play, so we could deviate away instead and go for a macro hero or for anything else. So keep that in mind a little bit when you're looking at the drafting process as well. That's not only true for this team, but we're also going to get HGC EU Lul that we already had in the first qualifier playing again in this one. So just when they make certain choices or certain heroes that they don't pick, figure that in when you're just like playing that through in your own head. But for now, we got Leo quickly dropped here. And guys, I got a call. I gotta go and pick up my Amazon package. We're gonna be back in the game. Sorry for that, but it's the one thing that I have to do. It's an important package, so see you guys in a second. Alrighty guys, so we are in the game. Apologies for that, I'm gonna explain it in a moment. On the left side, we got Juan Pablo Lunara, Shredded Wind on Malfurion, Coffee on ETC, Nathanatos on Imperius, and Vince on Mirrodin. Towards the right side, in red, the Enjoyers with Richu on Blaze, Lavakal on Brightwing, Arion on Diablo, Atrax on Chromie, and Alvaros on Jimmy. So, a little bit out of breath here. Yeah, I talked about this actually earlier before we went into any of the games. I had an important package that was supposed to be delivered today, and I wasn't really quite aware when that would happen. And I told everybody, hey, at some point I might have to run. And literally in the middle of the draft, I look at my phone and I have 2 missed calls. And I run out immediately towards the street, and I just get the Amazon delivery guy as he was about to leave. So yeah, perfect timing here. Draft obviously continued, and interesting to see Jimmy as a pick from them. So we have Jimmy, and we also have the triple front line over for the blue team, which they chose in the meantime. But damn son, Mirrodin, ETC, and Imperius, so a lot of stuns that they got there. That's a lot of CC action that they can bring in to take a single target down, specifically of course with Malfurion also being added to the mix. And dropping a root on them, so not too bad, but yeah. That was actually kind of funny. I literally just he gave me the package and I just ran back. I literally ran back because he was also a little bit farther away already, so I barely caught him. And I was just running and I jump in and I just see, oh my god, the game just started, the timing is perfect. But if I sounded a bit out of breath as I was introducing the players, that's the reason why. But yeah, great. Nice catch at the camp down here, so first camp goes over to Juan direction. And yep, all the way up at the top, the 1v1 is currently happening between Richu and Coffee. So ETC is side laning, which means that very likely we're going to get a global from him. So most likely going to be stage dive instead of going for more spit. Which makes obviously perfect sense with all of the CC that they're trying to bring in anyways. But now with Jimmy, we get also Exterminator. If you play him on this map, this is of course the reason why. And it kind of plays a little bit into what I've been talking earlier about what kind of heroes they would normally play here. So I think with Jimmy, positioning is obviously quite important. But when we're talking about actual ping, not that big of a deal if you position well. But they gotta protect him, and that's where Diablo and Blaze come into play as that beefy front line that they are going to use to try and shield him, of course. Now we got Speed Metal as the level 4 talent choice, so a couple of deviations already being made here. If you're playing a triple tank lineup essentially, then you can definitely get away with some adjustments, and that also plays a role in Mirrodin's choice as he goes for Sledgehammer as level 4, so that's in. But the main damage is going to come from, I guess, Bambi and of course Imperius. Imperius also has the advantage that he can get really good numbers into the game, but by now Prog Rock on level 1 for ETC, getting the 4 stacks. It's not really all that often that you are seeing ETC with a stacking quest on level 1 on Battlefield of Eternity, because it's much harder for him to get those globes since the 2 lanes are so far apart from each other. Double camp at the top. Yeah, the wall already gone. This is gonna hurt. I gotta give it to the European team. There we had a situation in the first game already where the macro really played a big role and they did better. But now the Immortal gets taken. That's a halftime show victory, and there's still nobody reacting to this. I mean, they're finally bringing Mirrodin in because he is just famous for all of that wave clear that he has. And that fort is essentially down. I mean, that is a huge lead. They get the Immortal, and this one is so low, the fort, that they can pick it off whenever they want. Even if it doesn't fall now, they can take it later. That is a massive win for the Enjoyers. It's actually ridiculous. The Enjoyers are taking a huge advantage here. This is a real problem, because you might walk away with 2 early forts that are getting destroyed. Blaze is trying to be a bit of a ninja and sneaking in from the side here. Richu is just like running around Coffee and saying like, I'm waiting for cooldowns and then I'm going to take this thing on. And well, with the damage kicking in, he nearly has it. He makes one more move like that, and he's got it. At the bottom, at least, the defense is going well for One Direction, so they're able to take Diablo down. He's eliminated. And yeah, that is half of the fort gone. I'm a little bit confused, honestly, after the last game. I really thought, okay, the blue team is going to do much better here in the early game. And with the draft that they have, they can be dangerous. But now a fort is gone. One is down to 50% HP. If you're playing on Battlefield of Eternity, there's a huge advantage. If they can pick some heroes off and get kills, that might change things quickly enough. But it will be a bit difficult. There's definitely a lot of pressure against them right now. I mean, 100%. Right now, they are running into a situation where they are... I don't want to say in the back foot, they're a little bit ahead in experience as well, as you can tell here. The problem is really just the lack of structures that they have now. The top fort lost, the bottom fort taking damage, so there is a chance that they're going to run into a problem here. If they can pick some heroes off and really break the cycle here, then that would help them a lot. But Jimmy is still going to do very well on the next objective. He's an absolute monster against the Immortal. That's specifically true for the first one, but even with number 2, they should do well. It's a question of whether or not they both have level 10, and this is where the blue team has a lead, because that experience gap between the two of them is likely going to result in them picking up their heroic abilities a little bit sooner, and you could build on that. So they're going to try and do that as best as they can. Top side, yeah, Richo still sitting tight there too. They're already moving now with Alvaros and the rest of the team at the bottom, just playing a bit defensive too. They want to get XP. They want to get those minion waves now. We got on level 7 also Echo Paddle, so another indicator that we're going to get Stage Dive for ETC. Blaze is top side trying to take the camp, and so far ETC hasn't really sniffed that out, so he is going to walk away with it. On the macro level, the Enjoyers are doing better. I think that's is pretty much a given after the 2 games that we've seen so far. But fights, that might change things. And again, to be fair to the blue team, they got the early level 10. So Bambi has Leap. We're getting Tranquility, Murden with his Avatar, and they're trying to be cute with ETC and hide the level 10. But everybody knows what it's going to be. I would be shocked to see a mosh pit here, because they're getting much more value out of a nice stage dive that they can use. And there it is. Stage dive is in. Both teams now at level 10. But the victory is this time in favor of the blue team. So they grab the objective. And who knows? They got the 50% shield, 40% shield. That might just be enough to really get them to scratch the paint on the bottom fort a bit and take that on. So let's see if they got a chance to make that work. Jimmy is still very good at defending, but there's the CC chain that I talked about earlier. He has to bunker up. I don't think that is going to save them. Nah, Brightwing trying to commit Sudoku by jumping in too, but they're losing Blaze early. Diablo moved out, and I have actually no idea why he did that. Blaze, once he was caught, he was essentially dead, and trying to save him just resulted in a second hero falling, so they're losing 2, and now they don't even have the tools to defend the bottom fort. That was a massive misplay by the Enjoyers. That was exceptionally well done by One Direction. Once that they identified, hey, there's an opportunity for us, it led to them now grabbing a fort, and all of a sudden it's a very different game. It's 3 kills to 0. Not only do you maintain that lead in experience that they already established earlier, but they also are even now in structures and have momentum. So, Enjoyers with a mistake. Clearly making a mistake here. And at the bottom of the map, they're now making plays for the camp, but times are starting to get a bit tough. And also, quick shout out to ETC. 16 stacks on his level 1 on Prog Rock. That is pretty good on Battlefield. But Nathanatos, yes, he dies. Finally a kill for the Enjoyers. So the Enjoyers are also picking up a kill, able to grab that. Good for them. So yep, that was an important one. Able to lock that in. And now on top of that, of course, still the question, is that going to be enough for the red team to take control of this game? Because they are able to take the fort down at the bottom of the map, but they need to do a bit more than that. And they're still behind in experience. This is a gap that they haven't been able to close for a long time. It's not going to be as important anymore as it was before level 10, but you still don't want to fall behind in talents. So if you are able to pick that up a bit, then fantastic. They're trying to also go for the camp here. So the more that you can do in a situation like that, I mean, the better. They need to win 2 in a row. Again, if they want to move on to the semi-final, they need to do that. One Direction, on the other hand, they're again going for the CC chain here. And they're targeting Diablo, but ETC a little bit too far out. Jet Propulsion connects, and ETC, he's dead. ETC is gone. That's the second kill for them to pick up. Closes the experience gap even further and brings them also towards level 13. So now they have a chance to go for the Immortal here. And with Jimmy and everybody just dishing out damage, they are racing it. And they are winning the halftime show. Not by much, but it's like 3,000, nearly 4,000 that they are ahead here. So pretty nice. Now, how much further can they go with this? Can they take the entire thing? That's a different question, but right now it looks pretty alright. And yeah, of course, now more important, who takes the Immortal? Can they go for a keep with that? Still one team that has a 4. Damage output, by the way, to just give you a bit of an idea what's been going on so far. We have 21,000 for Chromie. Red team, European team, up at the top, going for a camp, trying to apply a bit more pressure towards the top side. And 16,000 damage. Actually, it is Imperius who's top damage for the blue team for One Direction. Not even Lunara. That should change over time, but right now Bambi has a little bit of work to do. Yeah, they're trying to poke from a distance now, though. And there's so many little traps that are being set now by the blue team in the first place, because like they have all of these CC chains that they can initiate with 3 of their heroes, 4 if Malfurion hits a good route, and then the follow-up should be there. Jimmy is trying to take the camp down at the bottom of the map, which means that they're immediately starting to move back in. But yes, there we go. Again, Bambi with the jump, and Arian. The Polish team might be in trouble here. Arian is getting low, the Immortal at 50%. Barbecue play from Diablo. The bunker's on the ground too, but full commitment now from One Direction. But they lose ETC, and they might be in trouble with wins as well, as Murden jumps out, escapes, tries to escape, and has to avatar up as Jimmy nearly pops him. So, that's going to be another Immortal for the Europeans. The Polish team is about to lock in their second one. Both forts have already been destroyed with 3 kills to 3. Here's the opportunity to push for a keep. Nice! I like it. So, there's the chance now to try and go through the bottom of the map and see if they can take... I mean, they won't be able to take the keep out. Open the wall up, do a little bit of damage. It's a 30%, 40% shield right now. We are 12 minutes in, 12 and a half. So not too crazy. But again, this can do some work. And if you're able to pick a hero off by, yeah, for example, by doing that, that would be pretty nice as well. ETC is now threatening to move in from the side. Jet Propulsion doesn't connect, as Blaze was attempting to shut potential engage down right away. But the wall is falling. Lunara, though, is doing lots of damage against the Immortal. I mean, lots of damage. So now they go for the keep, and this is going to take a bit of damage. Wall opening up is already nice, but this is nearly 50%. This is more than 50%. ETC with the stage dive as they're trying to engage. Tranquility from Malfurion. They're trying to commit here. Going for Diablo, but the bunker is already out, and the team is slowly starting to retreat. Again, ETC being bullied around, but this time he survives. The keep still stands, but they are trying to clean house now. The blue team just running over them. Diablo, the first one to fall. And Jimmy, the usual problem. He might pack a punch, but he just doesn't have any escape tools. He's the second one to fall, and with a Stormbolt hitting Chromie hard, she's also going to get crushed. She can go for the timeout all she wants, but all that she does is delay the inevitable. She's gone. 6 kills to 3. And One Direction, they can now go into that One Direction because they need to do some counter damage. And they decide in favor of the keep at the bottom of the map. Bambi, with all of that acid that she's dropping all day, every day, is now trying to take at least the wall out. ETC's at the top. Could have tried to go top side and take the fort out, but they were already down here. So opening this up to later on have an easier time destroying the keep. Not a bad move either. Really interesting game now, though. So, 1 level lead is probably what, from their perspective, would worry me the most. With an entire level advantage, this could become a problem around level 20. Until then, it's another 3 levels, so still quite some time. A lot can happen in that time frame. But the blue team has been in the lead in experience for nearly the entire game and has been able to defend this for a long time. So they have a chance to continue doing that, get the early level 20, but it's going to happen around the next Immortal, not around this one. So this one can still change the flow of the game pretty significantly, depending on who's able to commit here and claim it. So now it's a full 5-man versus 5-man, even talents. Jimmy with Exterminator on level 1, still doing the work, and they are grabbing it quickly. So they have the halftime show very easily taken. Halftime show is in, and the red team will win the Immortal if it comes to a pure Immortal race. It's all a question of how the team fights are going, because this is where One Direction can more so make their own play. Try and get those team fight victories and then turn around and then take the Immortal. So, yeah, 17, 18, still trying to defend here. Imperius is up at the top, there's still a camp at the bottom of the map, they're not kind of taking care of it right now. Next potential play, Tranquility used by Malfurion. Engage is about to happen. There's the root on the ground. ETC with a slide, and there's the kill. ETC falls once again, but Diablo dies too. He doesn't have his souls. He's going to be down for the entire duration. Jimmy with one hit after another. He's sitting at 35,000 damage, but he falls as they focus on him and drop him. So, another one taken out. They're chasing them, and now with the numbers advantage, with the 4 versus 3 on the map, they focus their attention towards the Immortal, and this is exactly the kind of play that they need to make with their composition. Win the team fight, turning around, not give the opponent an opportunity to simply go for a race on Immortal damage. 8 kills to 4. One Direction is starting to do better and better here. They're still behind in structures. That's the problem for them. But they have the lead in experience, they have the lead in kills, they get the Immortal, and they can now drop that topside fort. And who knows, maybe do a bit more here. Maybe start pushing towards that second keep as well. And more importantly, level 20 is now becoming more and more of a reality for them, which will likely happen around the next Immortal. It's honestly not really a question of whether or not they're going to get level 20 around the next Immortal. They're going to have it 100%. The question is the red team going to be able to grab it in time? And this is the big question mark. And if they don't, then you are fighting a really tricky battle. ETC jumps on the Brightwing, or at least tries to, slides around. They go for Jimmy. The fort is already gone, so is the Immortal on the other hand. And Nathanaras in trouble. Jimmy, Chromie, they want the kill. They get the kill. Nice. Jimmy lines him up and takes him down. That's the second one as they drop ETC. God, I love this series. Back and forth the entire time. And now they are in a position where they again can chase a bit. But they also need to send somebody down in order to deal with the keep here, or they might lose it to the minion raid. But they want to take heroes down first. They want to take a few more. And they get another kill. Bambi is dead. Lunara is gone. And now the question, what are they going to do with it? They want the keep. They want the keep at the bottom of the map. Again, their own keep in trouble. This one might fall. Are they trying to go core here? They might go for it. I mean, if they get it, they are looking for it. They just lost their own keep. So they're trading keep for keep. They want to go core. They want to end it right here, right now. They go for Malfurion. Malfurion! Chromie with a big hit. Chromie takes him down. Staggered death. And the chance to go for a game. This is exactly what they want. They drop the core. They drop it slowly. A couple of the heroes are coming back, but Jimmy is just going for the single target damage against all of the melees. He's up against the Stormbolt. Hits him hard, but the core is already down to 20%. 8 kills to 8. Merlin goes down. So does the core. We are going to game 3, ladies and gentlemen. GG, and what a comeback by the red team. Game number 3, we're going the distance. Dragonshire, the Enjoyers, with the call towards the end to not only... Well, they could have defended, they could have tried to take the key, but they didn't want to stop there. They wanted to go for the core, and they did. They got a couple of staggered deaths against the opponent. So got a few extra kills, and that allowed them to go for the core, win it, and now we are going into our third map. So, I like the series. This is a good one. I'm really happy with this. Lots of back and forth here. And now Chromie gets banned. One of the reasons why this is kind of funny to me is because we had so many tournaments now, but again, the rule in the past was for a lot of tournaments, if a hero is played, the same hero can't be played again. Simple reason, more hero diversity makes it a little bit more interesting for the audience as well. But obviously that also means that once that you had to deal with a hero, you don't have to deal with the same hero again in the same series. So this situation, we don't see it a lot anymore, where a team loses twice against the hero and then just says, alright, we're done with this. So Chromie gets banned. They're done with Chromie. They're like, yeah, you picked her twice now, we absolutely hate her, and she's just out. So Chromie's gone, Hanzo's gone, Lucia's gone as we're going into Dragonshire, which of course is another map where globals can also play a big role. But it is kind of amusing for me to see that. Alright, final ban in the first ban phase. They're getting rid of Junkrat. And now, I would say side laner, right? Are we gonna get a side laner for them? Are they going for Blaze for the top? You could Blaze, Leoric, Urel, if they want to start with that, unless they have some kind of priority pick here where they say, okay, this is it. We haven't seen Hogger yet, so another one that could, of course, be played at some point, but there is Blaze. It's still the days of Quasar, where Quasar just said, like, I would love to play other heroes, but they leave Blaze open, and what am I supposed to do? He's the best side laner, so I'm just going to pick him and destroy everybody. Now, Blaze is in. Still, other choices. I mentioned a few. Dehaga would be another one that's really nice on Dragonshire, of course, if you want to do that. You could also play Rexa here, King of Dragonshire, for a reason, but they go Leoric. And, yeah, Malfurion. Bit of a preference pick for them, isn't it? Leoric, by the way, with a Space Lord skin. I don't know why, but the Space Lord skin never did it for me. Janitor is, of course, amazing. And I think right after the Janitor, in my personal opinion, is the Blue Ice Giant. That one looks pretty darn good. But the Space Lord is like, eh. I think we got a code back then, the HGC casters from Blizzard when it was released, and I don't think I equipped that skin even once. It just doesn't look good. It's just like meh. Very, very meh. The one thing that I still want for Leo is a baseball skin. I'm not even a massive baseball fan or anything. I've been to a single game in Korea once, that's it. But Leo just knocking it out of the park, that would be pretty awesome, honestly. That'd be really cool. I could totally see that. And, you know, you make him like, you have some gestures, he's pointing for the fences and stuff like that. That would be pretty sweet. Anyways, Diablo and Brightwing. So again, the front line, we've already seen this before. We've seen it on the last map, in fact. This is the exact same lineup that they played on the last map, with the exception that Chromie is now banned. But at least the three heroes that we're seeing right now, the backbone of the comp is the same. Welcome to one of the reasons why we're usually introducing the rule that you can't play a hero more than once within a series. So, yeah. But, Greymane gets banned. We want to make sure that there's no bullet hitting Diablo between the eyes time and time again. So, damage output. One direction. Tank, damage. What's it gonna be? What's the choice here against Diablo? We're gonna get some percentage damage. Leo can drain, so you already have one. And also... Ooh, Tychus. Tychus has fallen off on the European side massively. I mean, really massively. And now they have a Nubarak. I'm looking at that draft and I'm just like, meh. I mean, maybe Juan Pablo can tie things together for them here, but so far it's not really doing a whole lot for me. I can see some of the thought process behind it, but I'm not quite sure if I really agree with a lot there. Nubarak again, engage, Malfurion Root, Drain from Leoric, Tychus with the damage against Diablo. There's definitely some ideas behind it that you can see. I'm just not sure if it's going to be enough. Now we got Falstad again. Is that going to trigger a Genji pick right away? We got Alvarus on Gul'dan, so you have a Horrify now available, which is definitely going to make things for a lot of those heroes much, much more difficult after level 10. If you mindlessly engage in, you could actually be taken out very quickly. So, either way. Juan Pablo... He's the final one. They need a bit more damage. Tychus alone is not going to be enough, even with Leoric trying to drain Diablo. And they go Phoenix! Alright, now I'm even more sitting here. I'm like, huh? So, yeah, they're going full NA. Which makes perfect sense. And we are going into Dragonshire. The Enjoyers, ladies and gentlemen, against One Direction. Game number 3, the final map. The series is going to be decided right here. Juan Pablo for One Direction with Phoenix. We get Coffee on Leoric. Shredded Wind is playing Malfurion. And well, we get Nathanatos on Tiger, so he's going to be the one trying to target Diablo as well as Leoric. And then we have Vince on Nuburak. On the red team side, and then again, Richu for the Polish team with Blaze. We got Arion on Diablo, Lavakal on Brightwing, Itrax on Falstad for the second time, and Alvaros on Gul'dan. So playing with a slight ping disadvantage here, playing cross-server. We got the Polish team, and let's see if they can win 2 in a row and move on to the semi-final, or if One Direction is just going to end it now, after they were able to do so on map number 2 with a 2-1 victory. So, let's see if they can pull that off. I mean, first and foremost, who is going to get first blood here? That's of course another big question. Alright, a little bit of damage up at the wall, top side. Yep, Leo is slowly coming in. But again, every bit of damage that you can get initially matters. Seems like they're trying to just set up some traps here in that Bermuda triangle that we have in the middle. But very safe rotations, at least for now, from their opponents. So, no risks taken at this point. So far it's working for them. Tigers is clearly baiting a little bit and is just saying like, alright, I'm here. Who wants some? The jet propulsion doesn't connect. Blaze has to move back, which is what he's currently doing. And the skirmish continues. I mean, this is for all the marbles right now. If you make it to the next one, you are, at least you're guaranteed, even if you don't qualify today, a slot in the last chance qualifier. So that's going to be another opportunity to qualify for the finals. But we have now camps up on the map. And this is where we're seeing some action from the blue team as they're grabbing their siege giants. They're also attempting to invade the opponents. So they're sniffing that out very quickly. They're saying, alright guys, let's go. And we'll see if we can steal that away too. Aggression seems to be the name of the game from the perspective of One Direction. Yep, they want to be aggressive and they want to steal that camp away. And it's not working. They might get Diablo, and indeed they do. But a potential counter kill could also happen here, as both Nuburak and Malfurion were pretty low, but both of them are also able to make their way out of the fight without dying. So siege giants have been claimed. Diablo lost his lives for them, but at least they weren't stolen away. It would have been just worse. Oh, and Falster gets picked off in the mid lane real quickly. Apparently they're looking for some extra chicken. Ooh, that reminds me, I actually have some chicken McNuggets still in the freezer. I could make those later. Alright. Who has the best chicken McNuggets? What do you guys think? Gul'dan also. Damn, that's kill number 3. So they dropped another one there. There's also a pretty significant leading experience. I like the structural damage at the top against the wall. So kudos to Blaze facilitating that. At the same time, you're a level behind and you just lost 3 heroes. Yeah, I'm not quite sure if that was really then worth it. Mass Assassin, by the way, for Tychus, in case you're not familiar with the build, the whole purpose of doing that is that you get the passive. That's the added attack speed that also is available for Odin. You don't want to complete the, well, you want to complete the quest, but it's not really what you have in mind when you pick it. If you can still pull that off. I mean, most of the time you've already won the game by the time that happens. But still, that was not a move. Itrax goes down, and yeah, that just hurts. So that is a bit unfortunate. Itrax gets destroyed. It was kind of funny. I mean, he's trying to fly in here, and it is not working. They had his number. Tries to fly, there's the stun, and then he just gets murdered. That's 5 kills to 0. One Direction with the first Dragon Knight too. So they are 1.5 levels ahead. They've taken 5 kills. They got the first objective. Yeah, they are looking damn good here. That is the opening that you want in Game 3. Exactly that. This is about as good as it gets. Not even a counter kill. So the Enjoyers, they are in a lot of trouble. The bot lane wall has been opened up as a result. In the middle, the Dragon Knight is doing the same thing. Still very early in the game, so of course it's not going to drop a fort here, but they are getting value on every single lane. Even Leo at the top is able to do a lot of work. And at the pace that they're killing heroes, who knows, maybe Tychus is even able to complete that quest eventually. That would of course be another huge win if he's able to pull that off. But now they're just going to be very happy with all the structural damage that they've done, with all of the walls that they opened up. And more importantly, with that insane leading experience. I mean, we're at this point talking about more than a level And that is before level 10 hits, so you're gonna have a huge window of opportunity once that those heroic abilities are coming in play. That is dangerous. Anubarak gets killed, so that's at least something. They're moving in to try and take the Siege Giants here. So Anubarak gets taken out, the Siege Giants get claimed, finally a little bit of aggression from the red team. Who knows, maybe they can follow up. Diablo was already looking for the next target, but they have to do a lot if they want to bring this back. One kill is not going to bridge that experience lead that One Direction has right now. And that, again, is really dangerous. Now, it's also a map where you might be able to delay things a little bit. You don't have to immediately go for the objective here. You can try and play some ring around the rosy plays. Nicely done, also grabbing the Siege Giants at the bottom right just before level 10 is available for their opponents. So they weren't able to steal that camp here. So there's not a whole lot that can be done with level 10 now from the perspective of One Direction. If they want to siege up on one of the forts, they can. But, again, it's a little to be claimed. They can go for the camp at the bottom of the map, I suppose, but the red team should be very eager to not give them a fight. So they will let this one go. Just soak experience. We have Salvo, by the way. We have Odin. No surprises when the heroics are concerned here. And in the meantime, Leo is also moving back towards the top, but there's level 10. There's the heroics now also for the Polish team. And again, that was kind of important. That gap in experience didn't play that big of a role. They are trying to use that mercenary camp now at the bottom, though, together with Odin to try and take that fort out. So they're still getting something out of it. But it's only damage. They can't destroy the entire thing. Nice gust against Malfurion, though. But, yeah, did they get Phoenix at least? Phoenix is trying to warp out. Horrify has been used too. Malfurion might not have been killed, but his Tranquility also didn't do a whole lot for him, because everybody was pushed back. But I really think that the Enjoyers were hoping for a lot more here. With him flying aggressively for that gust, they were hoping to get kills. And the reality is they just didn't. So they weren't able to pick any kills up. 5 kills to 1 overall. And the objective up, it's still a battle for the next Dragon Knight. It's an interesting game. 30 stacks for Gul'dan. So he wants the synergy with level 16. Ruinous Affliction is something that he's going to pick up as soon as he can. Here comes the Salvo! And Anubarak survives? What? A noob somehow survives the fight. Falstad is dead again. One chicken wing at a time. He's getting taken out. And they are going to lose Diablo too. Dibbles is dead. And boy, oh boy, is the red team now suffering. Just as it seemed that they might be able to claw their way back into the series and into the game. They're losing more and more ground, more heroes. The fort at the bottom. Blaze is trying to counter pressure at the top. But that is some real nice momentum that the blue team is now enjoying here. One fort destroyed. And again, as I said before, they are looking good here. Doing a lot of work, a lot of damage. At the top, the next little play is being made. Now they have also level 13 talents. So that's nice. With the talent advantage on top of it. Falstad, yeah, guarding this. They want to set the trap up. And I think he's down. Yes, Coffee is gone. They're taking Leoric down. They're taking also the Shine. That denies at least the Dragon Knight for now. Catching up in experience is going to be one of the primary goals outside of denying the DK to One Direction. But the blue team, I mean, if you ask me which team is currently doing way better, the answer is very easy. So, map number 2, on the other hand, there were a few moments where it also seemed like the blue team is going to win this one. And then it was just a couple of good calls, and all of a sudden, the SL Enjoyers were able to take it. I've always said that the more chaotic a game is, the better the Enjoyers do. And this just perfectly vibes with their name. If you enjoy Storm League, then first of all, you have to be a bit of a masochist. And second of all, you are thriving on chaos, 100%. So now we have 13 on both sides. That gives us also the sustained wins. We have Phoenix taking over the control over the beacon, the shrine at the bottom of the map. And at the top side, Falstad has reclaimed it. There's also only one team that really has a global, so while Falstad might be struggling in some of the fights and has been dying quite a bit, he also can later on, as the game opens up in some of these forts and maybe even keeps are destroyed, start to play the macro game even more, as long as they're being safe here. Quest completed for Gul'dan is really good. It means that once he has Ruinous Affliction, he can fully capitalize on that too. 9 minutes and 25 seconds. It's not shabby. Try to go for it again. There's the rotation. Jet propulsion into Apoc. And it connects with at least 2. The Entomb comes out, but Malfurion is gone. And that's a big kill. Malfurion dying is absolutely huge. Without a support, they won't be able to fight here. They need a healer. So now everyone is starting to chase Phoenix. Now there's some momentum. Maybe that is a Dragonite opportunity for the Enjoyers. They got Blaze at the top, so if Leo is trying to grab it, he can delay. In the middle, they've set their heroes up. Falset is down at the bottom of the map and should be able to fly into if he's really needed there. Leo, is he going to move to the top? Yes, he is. They need to channel soon, but it's going to get interrupted. So Leo takes it just in time. Interrupts are there. No counter kills. I think they could have left Blaze at the top of it. They had vision on Leoric. Now they're missing out on the opportunity to sneak in that Dragonite. Malfurion is back to business. And there is still that significant lead for the blue team as they pick off as their opponents pick off Leoric. But level 16 is now in play. That was an important kill, honestly. First of all, it gave extra experience to the red team. But also adding to that was the fact that with Leo down, even just for a short period of time, they can't capitalize as heavily on the level 16 talent advantage. So that was worth a lot too. You shouldn't count out the Enjoyers though. That's essentially what I'm trying to say here. Because they've been... they've basically caught up in experience. And they have a camp pushing at the top. So they're really making a move now, and the synergy is there for Gul'dan. There's this huge synergy with Ruinous Affliction now. Completed level 1 quest in Ruinous Affliction, you're gonna do well. Leo, Diablo actually got cocooned just before he died. Gas to save his life. He might still fall, but so does Anubarak. Anubarak is the first one actually to go down, and Diablo is still alive. Now they're turning it on Leo. He's gone. Anubarak and Leoric both dead, and boy, the topside fort falls as well. Things are getting much, much worse here by the second for the blue team, because they are likely now also going to lose out on the objective. If the channel happens right now, Phoenix made his way over in time, didn't he? Yeah, so he denies it again. He denies it, but they might still be able to get that Dragonite. Even if they don't, it's 7 kills to 6 now. They more than caught up here. And there's the Dragonite, and this time it won't be interrupted. They are gonna grab this one. DK is in. Leo was hoping to interrupt it in time and couldn't. We have 30,000 damage for Falstad. He's nearly top damage in the game. Only Tychus is higher up than he is. But nicely done by the Enjoyers. The European team is all of a sudden doing much, much better here. Each team has taken down a fort. Lead and experience now goes to the red team as well. This isn't over by any means. One Direction has made so many good plays already that they can easily bring this back. But the shift in momentum is something to point out here for sure. DK is not doing a lot of work though, especially with Odin now being popped for defense as well. It's really tough for them to get a lot out of this. First of all, we're not that heavily into the late game just yet. But also with One Direction being totally willing to sacrifice ults and everything to defend their fort, they are able to make that happen. So the fort still stands. Dragonite got a little bit of work, got them a bit of momentum too. He can also play around the Dragon's Breath, of course, and his abilities here. But it's not... It didn't really do as much for the Enjoyers as they were hoping for. But again, momentum has changed pretty heavily. But the blue team is not too happy with it, and as you can see, they're roaming as 5. They want to get kills now. They're looking to be aggressive again. And I really appreciate it in their team. They're not playing it too safe, they're not intimidated by anything. They're just saying, okay guys, this hasn't been going well for us, we just need to buckle up here. We need to coordinate this a little bit better, and just continue with the aggressive style and pick up some kills again. And once we do that, we're going to be in a great spot. So they're trying to engage here, but they're being shut down. Leoric actually attempting to make a play and set up another kill for them. They take the camp, and this should allow them to break at least through the wall. Teams are also chasing level 20. This is going to be the next milestone for both of them. Also with the Mithril Maze for Leoric, we have 35 stacks now. Wall indeed is gone. Diablo hoping to get another kill, but couldn't quite. But I like this. They are aggressive. Leo is taking the fort at the top, by the way. He's coming in and he's dropping this one. They are taking the one at the bottom of the map, so they are just going for counter damage over and over again. They want to kill two. Malfurion trouble. APOC to play the combo. The fort is gone, and so is the old guy with the green hair. Yep. All that moss that just seeded into the beard of Malfurion dragged him down a little bit. He couldn't run away fast enough. They're picking up a second kill against a noob, and that is awesome for the Enjoyers. Once again, they're making plays, they're creating opportunities, and this might lead to a little bit more. They're looking great here. The wall at the bottom of the map has already been opened up, and they're going for the keep. They're trying to take this one out at least. They have level 20, and could technically also siege up on the keep, on the core itself, and I think this is exactly what they're trying to do here. Once again, the push for the core, just as they see a chance. Big salvo potentially coming out. The APOC, beautiful combo from Arian. He falls, but they go for the core now, and they were able to take Phoenix down. Only two defenders with Tychus and with Leo. They're going for the big right clicks over here. The Enjoyers move on to the next round of qualifier number 2 and eliminate One Direction. What a performance toward the end here. GG, well played as the Enjoyers take the W.